Welcome to this in-depth exploration of nanofabrication, the revolutionary science of engineering materials at the atomic and molecular scale to create nanoparticles with unprecedented properties for cutting-edge technological applications. Before we dive into fabrication methods, let's address a fundamental question. Why do materials behave so differently at the nanoscale? What physical principles govern this dramatic transformation in properties? Consider a bulk material, a piece of gold, for instance. At the macroscopic scale, atoms in the interior are surrounded by neighbors in all directions. The surface atoms represent only a tiny fraction of the total. Now shrink that material down to nanometer dimensions, 1 to 100 nanometers. Suddenly, the surface-to-volume ratio explodes. More than 50% of atoms can be at or near the surface, drastically altering chemical reactivity, optical properties, and mechanical strength. At this scale, quantum confinement effects dominate. When you confine electrons to dimensions comparable to their de Broglie wavelength, their energy levels become discretized, fundamentally changing optical and electronic properties. Picture electrons as waves confined in a nanoscale box. As the box shrinks, allowed energy states spread apart. This is why gold nanoparticles can appear red or purple instead of gold. The electronic transitions shift based on particle size. Now let's explore the actual fabrication techniques. We can categorize nanofabrication into two fundamental approaches, top-down and bottom-up. Let's start with top-down methods, where we start with bulk material and systematically break it down. In ball milling, a mechanical process, bulk material is ground in a high-energy mill with hardened steel or ceramic balls. Through repeated fracturing and cold welding, particles are reduced to nanoscale dimensions. The advantage of ball milling is its scalability. You can produce kilograms of nanopowder. However, controlling size distribution and preventing contamination from the milling media remains challenging. Photolithography, borrowed from semiconductor manufacturing, uses light to pattern nanoscale features. A photoresist layer is exposed through a mask, then developed to create patterns that can be etched or used as templates. The fundamental limitation is the wavelength of light. Traditional UV lithography hits a wall around 100 nanometers. Extreme UV lithography using 13.5 nanometer wavelength light can achieve sub-10 nanometer features, but requires extraordinarily expensive equipment. Now let's shift to bottom-up approaches, which are often more elegant and versatile. Here we build nanoparticles, atom by atom, through chemical reactions. This is where chemistry becomes nanotechnology. In chemical synthesis, we start with molecular precursors dissolved in solution. When we trigger a chemical reaction, perhaps by heating, adding a reducing agent, or changing pH, atoms begin to cluster together in a process called nucleation. The Lamer mechanism, proposed in 1950, explains how we achieve monodispersed nanoparticles. There's a critical supersaturation threshold. Once crossed, rapid nucleation occurs, consuming precursor and dropping concentration below the nucleation threshold. Existing nuclei continue growing by consuming remaining precursor, but no new nuclei form. This separation of nucleation and growth stages is the key to size uniformity. All particles nucleate at roughly the same time and grow under identical conditions. Let me walk you through a classic example, the Turkevich method for gold nanoparticle synthesis. This beautiful reaction demonstrates bottom-up principles perfectly and produces stunning results. We start with gold 3 chloride and water, a pale yellow solution. When we add sodium citrate and heat to boiling, the citrate acts as both a reducing agent and a stabilizer. Gold 3 plus ions are reduced to gold 0 atoms. The genius is that citrate molecules absorb onto the gold nanoparticle surfaces, providing electrostatic stabilization. The negatively charged citrate prevents particles from aggregating. The final solution appears deep red due to surface plasmon resonance. This brings us to an important question. What is surface plasmon resonance, and why does it make gold nanoparticles red? This phenomenon is central to many nanoparticle applications. When light hits a metal nanoparticle, the oscillating electromagnetic field drives the conduction electrons into collective oscillation. This creates a dipole oscillation of the electron cloud relative to the fixed positive nuclei. At a specific resonant frequency, this oscillation is maximized, We call this the localized surface plasmon resonance. For gold particles around 20 nanometers, this resonance occurs in the green part of the spectrum, so green light is absorbed and the complementary color red is transmitted. By controlling size and shape, we tune the plasmon resonance across the entire visible spectrum. 10 nanometer gold particles appear orange-red. 50 nanometer particles shift toward purple. Gold nanorods can absorb in the near-infrared, perfect for biomedical imaging. Let's explore another powerful bottom-up approach: gas phase synthesis. These methods offer exceptional purity and unique morphologies impossible to achieve in solution. In physical vapor deposition, we vaporize a target material using high energy, a laser pulse, electron beam, or sputtering with ions. The vaporized atoms travel through vacuum or inert gas, condensing into nanoparticles or thin films. Pulsed laser ablation is particularly elegant. A focused laser pulse vaporizes a tiny amount of target material, creating a highly supersaturated vapor. As this plume expands and cools, nanoparticles nucleate with exquisite size control. Chemical vapor deposition takes a different approach. Precursor gases flow over a heated substrate where they decompose or react, depositing nanoparticles or films. The beauty is in the chemistry. Choosing the right precursor and conditions sculpts the final structure. Carbon nanotube growth beautifully illustrates CVD. Catalyst nanoparticles, often iron, cobalt, or nickel, sit on a substrate. When hydrocarbon gas flows over them at high temperature, carbon dissolves into the catalyst. As it becomes supersaturated, carbon precipitates as a nanotube, growing up from the catalyst like a blade of grass. Now we arrive at perhaps the most elegant fabrication method: self-assembly. Here we design molecules that spontaneously organize into desired nanostructures, guided by thermodynamics and intermolecular forces. Imagine amphiphilic molecules with hydrophilic heads and hydrophobic tails in water. They spontaneously organize to minimize free energy, forming micelles, vesicles, or bilayers. No external intervention needed, just thermodynamics. Block copolymers, chains with the distinct polymer segments, phase separate at the nanoscale. Depending on the volume fraction and interaction parameters, they form spheres, cylinders, lamellae, or complex gyroid structures with 10 to 100 nanometer periodicities. These structures serve as templates for nanofabrication. Etch away one phase, and you have a nanoporous membrane. Infiltrate with a metal precursor, and selectively reduce it to create nanowire arrays. Self-assembly provides the pattern for free. A critical question emerges: how do we precisely control nanoparticle properties during synthesis? Size, shape, composition, and surface chemistry all dramatically affect performance. Size control hinges on separating nucleation from growth. Rapid nucleation, followed by slow growth, produces small, uniform particles. Slow nucleation with fast growth yields larger, more polydispersed particles. Temperature, precursor concentration, and reaction kinetics are our control knobs. Shape control is more subtle and elegant. Different crystal facets have different surface energies. By introducing capping agents that selectively bind to certain facets, we slow their growth relative to others, sculpting nanorods, nanocubes, nanostars, or nanocages. Surface chemistry is paramount. Bare nanoparticles aggregate immediately due to van der Waals forces. We must coat them with ligands, small molecules, polymers, or biomolecules that provide steric or electrostatic stabilization while imparting desired functionality. Let's explore how these carefully engineered nanoparticles revolutionize technology. First, catalysis and energy conversion, areas where nanoparticles truly shine. Consider platinum nanoparticles in fuel cells. The high surface area means more active sites for hydrogen oxidation and oxygen reduction. A 3 nanometer platinum nanoparticle has 40% of its atoms at the surface, all potential catalytic sites. In solar energy, quantum dots offer tantalizing possibilities. Their size-tunable bandgap means we can create solar cells that harvest multiple regions of the solar spectrum simultaneously. Stack layers of different-sized quantum dots, and you capture everything from UV to near-infrared. The economic impact is staggering. By using nanoparticles instead of bulk catalysts, we achieve the same activity with a fraction of the precious metal. A modern catalytic converter might use 2 grams of platinum nanoparticles instead of 10 grams of bulk platinum. Same performance, 80% cost reduction. Now let's turn to medicine, where nanoparticles are literally saving lives. The ability to engineer particles that interact with biological systems at the cellular and molecular level opens revolutionary therapeutic possibilities. A modern drug delivery nanoparticle is a marvel of engineering. The core might be a gold nanoparticle or liposome containing therapeutic drug. A biocompatible polymer coating like polyethylene glycol prevents immune recognition, targeting ligands, antibodies, or peptides guided to specific cells. Tumor targeting exploits the enhanced permeability and retention effect. Tumor vasculature is leaky, with pore sizes up to several hundred nanometers. Nanoparticles accumulate preferentially in tumors, while healthy tissue with tight vasculature excludes them. Gold nanorods enable photothermal therapy. Inject them into a tumor where they accumulate. Shine near-infrared light which penetrates tissue onto the tumor. The nanorods absorb light and convert it to heat, cooking cancer cells while sparing surrounding tissue. Precision medicine at its finest. Iron oxide nanoparticles serve dual roles. As MRI contrast agents, they enhance imaging resolution, helping locate tumors. Under alternating magnetic fields, they generate heat for hyperthermia therapy. Guide them with external magnets for targeted delivery. 1 nanoparticle platform, 3 functions. Let's shift to electronics, where nanoparticles enable the next generation of devices. As Moore's law approaches fundamental limits, nanoparticle-based approaches offer alternative pathways. Quantum dot displays represent a commercial triumph. Blue LEDs excite quantum dots of precisely controlled sizes. Small dots emit blue, medium ones green, large ones red. The color purity is extraordinary. These displays reproduce 100% of the DCI-P3 color space. At the quantum scale, single electron transistors use nanoparticles as conducting islands between source and drain electrodes. Current flow is controlled by adding or removing individual electrons, the ultimate in low-power electronics. Coulomb blockade prevents electrons from tunneling unless specific energy conditions are met. Quantum dots show promise for quantum computing. An electron trapped in a quantum dot can exist in superposition states, the qubit basis. Couple multiple quantum dots, and you create entangled states. Silicon quantum dots operate at millikelvin temperatures, but progress toward room temperature quantum computing continues. Nanoparticles also address environmental challenges. Water purification, air filtration, and environmental remediation all benefit from nanoscale engineering. Nanoporous membranes with precisely controlled pore sizes filter contaminants. Carbon nanotube membranes allow water molecules through while blocking bacteria, viruses, and heavy metal ions. Flow rates exceed traditional reverse osmosis by orders of magnitude. Titanium dioxide nanoparticles act as photocatalysts, breaking down organic pollutants under UV light. Coat them on surfaces and they become self-cleaning. Organic dirt decomposes when exposed to sunlight. Paint buildings with titanium nanoparticles and they clean the air as they self-clean. Zero-valent iron nanoparticles remediate contaminated groundwater. Inject them into aquifers where they reduce chlorinated solvents to harmless compounds. Their nanoscale size means enormous reactive surface area and the ability to travel through soil pores, reaching contaminants that bulk iron never could. Despite tremendous progress, significant challenges remain. Let's address the question, what obstacles must we overcome to fully realize nanotechnology's potential? Scalability poses a major hurdle. Synthesizing monodispersed nanoparticles in a beaker is one thing. Producing tons per year with consistent quality is quite another. Continuous flow reactors and process automation are bridging this gap, but scaling up while maintaining nanoscale precision remains challenging. Cost is tied to scalability. Many nanoparticle synthesis methods require expensive precursors, high-purity reagents, and energy-intensive processing. Reducing costs demands process optimization, alternative precursors, and integration with existing manufacturing infrastructure. Environmental health and safety concerns demand rigorous investigation. How do nanoparticles interact with biological systems? Do they accumulate in organs? What happens when they enter ecosystems? The field of nanotoxicology addresses these critical questions through systematic studies. We're learning that surface chemistry, not just size, determines biological response. Bare nanoparticles may be toxic, but properly functionalized particles show excellent biocompatibility. Understanding and controlling the protein corona, the layer of proteins that coats nanoparticles in biological fluids, is key. Looking forward, what revolutionary applications lie on the horizon? Where will nanoparticle research take us in the next decade? DNA-directed assembly represents an exciting frontier. DNA strands attached to nanoparticles act as programmable linkers. Complementary sequences drive particles to assemble into predetermined structures, lattices, clusters, even functional devices. We're encoding construction blueprints into DNA sequences. Imagine designing a photonic crystal or plasmonic metamaterial by simply mixing nanoparticles with the right DNA sequences. The structure assembles itself, atom by atom, following genetic instructions. Self-assembly meets genetic programming. Nanorobots, autonomous nanoparticles with sensing, computing, and actuation capabilities, could revolutionize medicine. Envision particles that patrol the bloodstream, detect cancer cells through molecular signatures, attach to them, and deliver lethal drug doses. Search, identify, destroy, all at the cellular level. In computing, memoristive nanoparticles could enable neuromorphic architectures that mimic brain function. Nanoparticle networks with tunable conductances serve as artificial synapses, learning through analog weight adjustments rather than digital gates. Energy efficiency could approach biological neurons. Climate engineering proposals involve injecting reflective nanoparticles into the stratosphere to increase Earth's albedo. Titanium dioxide or calcium carbonate aerosols could offset warming by reflecting sunlight. Controversial, yes, but the nanoscale engineering required illustrates how far the field has progressed. As we conclude, let's reflect on the trajectory of nanofabrication. We've progressed from curiosity-driven synthesis to precision engineering of functional devices. The most exciting advances occur at disciplinary intersections. Chemists design synthesis routes. Physicists elucidate quantum effects. Engineers scale production. Biologists explore medical applications. Nanotechnology thrives on convergence. As our fundamental understanding deepens, we transition from empirical trial and error to rational design. Computational modeling predicts nanoparticle properties before synthesis. Machine learning identifies optimal synthesis parameters. We're moving toward predictive nanotechnology. Responsible development demands that we address safety, environmental impact, and ethical considerations proactively. The same properties that make nanoparticles powerful, high reactivity, ability to cross biological barriers, require careful stewardship. The nanofabrication revolution continues accelerating. From catalysis to computing, medicine to materials science, nanoparticles are transforming technology and improving lives. The ability to engineer matter at the atomic scale, to design quantum properties, surface chemistries, and functional assemblies represents one of humanity's great technological achievements. By mastering nanofabrication, we've gained unprecedented control over matter-its. We assemble atoms into structures nature never created, with properties that push the boundaries of what's possible. This is more than material science. It's the art and science of creation at the most fundamental level accessible to engineering. The nano-revolution is not coming, it is here. And its potential is limited only by our imagination and our commitment to understanding the deep physics and chemistry that govern the nano world. Thank you.